Alright, welcome back. We're in Lone Echo again. I'm going to continue this game. Hope you had a great Christmas.
Approaching the biomass research facility. This is where the outbreak originated.
We're sure there's some contained biomass on hand for Jack's retrieval.
Logs indicate 1 or 2 containers should still be in storage. However, reaching them may be difficult due to the entire facility being under lockdown.
The tram entrance will undoubtedly be your only way in.
Acknowledged. The facility appears to be in fairly poor condition, but there is at least some power flowing.
Due to the generator being restored.
Unfortunately, I'm still unable to access any systems further into the facility. Power flow stops at the entry terminal. It appears that the systems are outright disconnected, including the physical entry bridge. Jack, you'll need to reconnect those systems to gain entry to the facility.
Copy that.
Whoa. Come on. Oh, wrong button. Whoa, what are these?
This device looks vaguely similar to the cranes we saw in the transit hub.
Good eye, Jack. That's because it's an early version of the stasis field technology used by those cranes, as well as our cargo drones and many other systems. As you can imagine, the ability to manipulate objects without direct contact has significant advantages when dealing with the biomass.
Yes, advantages we continue to witness firsthand through Jack's grip projector.
Agreed. This appears to be some sort of focusing device. I haven't seen anything like it elsewhere on Chiron Station.
It's actually a prototype of the technology our containment units use to keep Dix pacified.
As in the technology that shorted out while Jack and I were trapped in the engineering bay.
Yes, though that was due to the power cycling abnormally. I assure you, it's usually quite stable.
Yeah, one would hope.
A scale model of the FTL drive on Dr. Harlan's ship. Was the drive developed here?
Not exactly. While the few FTL drives still in service were refitted here, the original design was actually reverse engineered from the FTL drives left behind aboard the Estrella. That was done by your former employer, in fact.
Wait, Atlas built them?
Indeed. Before the company dissolved, of course.
Effectively, 22nd century Atlas reverse engineered their own 26th century technology.
Ah, that sounds perfectly normal and not at all confusing.
I would expect nothing less from our employer, past, present, or otherwise.
Somewhat odd to leave this case empty.
It's fairly straightforward. Our work was never finished.
So, I guess I'm going this way. Since this one is able to open. Oh. Do I need to go this way or this way? This way. Oh, it's the same thing.
These are auxiliary controls for the extension bridges.
Correct, but they're currently inoperable. The power conduit extending from the entrance to the main facility has been retracted, likely an attempt to contain the biomass spread. To restore power to the extension mechanisms, you will need to re-engage the power conduit to cross the gap.
Understood. I will locate and re-engage the conduit.
Just keep in mind that you'll also be restoring power to the main research facility, including any dormant biomass within.
Juno, are any of the station's X3 units still active?
Not exactly. My records indicate that all X3 neural matrices were transferred off Chiron Station during the evacuation.
Well, despite everything, it's nice that at least the androids made it out.
Power switch located.
Reestablishing main generator connection. Be advised, Class 3 power fields will become active. Dormancy will be nullified.
Hey, Jack. I know you've got this, as always, but by restoring power, we're undoing something that was put in place as a die-hard safety precaution.
We're certain this is the only place we're going to find a contained biomass?
Assuming these fragmented station logs are correct? Yes.
Well, that's reassuring.
Finalizing connection.
Connection established. Now receiving power readings throughout the facility. Jack, once you have the bridge fully extended, you should be able to access the facility proper. Though I suspect some areas may have additional security requirements.
Nora, the research director, would have done everything she could to contain the outbreak. But there is no containing it. This was an eventuality.
It's fortunate that your disagreement over priorities led you to be elsewhere when the outbreak occurred.
It's only fortunate if I'm right.
Dr. Harlan, if these power readings are accurate, our suspicions appear confirmed.
What's that now? What suspicions?
Educated guess, rather.
Which is different how?
The ticks aren't the only form of biomass that have been evolving since your time.
Great, so what's this one do? Open doors?
Quite the opposite, in fact.
It's best if you see for yourselves.
It seems someone was emphatic about maintaining the lockdown. I'm crossing into the main facility now.
Copy that, Jack.
Oh boy.
Biomass has taken hold here.
Given that it got this far, the rest of the facility will likely be much worse.
Will the fabricator still be operational?
Yes, at least enough that Jack should be able to reboot without issue. Jack, you are now entering the facility's lobby. Biomass containment is located through the leftmost door.
Through the leftmost door?
This must be the evolved biomass form Dr. Harlan mentioned. It detects my presence, much like the other specimens encountered thus far.
We classify it as a reticulated B biomass organism, but most people just call them webs.
Aside from their namesake membrane, webs can also be recognized by an additional nodule. It should be quite distinct.
I take it you mean this abnormally bioluminescent growth?
Our best estimate is that it's some type of sensor for the web.
Get too close to the sensor, and the web expands.
Precisely. In any case, you'll need to bypass that web to reach the containment area.
Then I will search the rest of the facility for anything useful.
Start here at the medical wing. There's another web.
Another one of the web forms. I still have no way to bypass.
Then try the labs. The research they were doing there might prove useful.
Copy that. I'll see what I can find. I found a casualty in the lobby.
Dr. Brianna Levington.
She was one of our pathologists.
There's some kind of added security here.
Dr. Everett Harlan reporting. Authorized laboratory access.
Voice-activated authorization. That's a smart security feature.
Thank you. And you're welcome.
Biological specimens.
The director was always in here. Dissecting, testing. She was tireless.
She must have had a cast iron stomach.
One of the toughest people I have ever known.
What sort of research were they doing here?
The director was convinced a cure was impractical. So she poured everything into containment technology.
Did she have any luck?
When I left, she had everyone working on miniaturizing the insulation cloaking from our containment unit. I'm not sure how far they got.
Is this some type of emitter?
It looks to be a functional prototype. I knew she. They were close, but I didn't know they had moved into practical testing. The basic concept was to surround the biomass with a cloak of electromagnetic insulation, preventing energy from reaching it.
Kind of like using a blanket to smother a flame.
Indeed. The idea was to build these cloak emitters as a reactive defense against the biomass, to contain it.
That could have a wide array of tactical applications.
It's a store-led based, not a solution. I wish she could have seen that.
These controls are running some sort of automated procedure.
The system is no longer reachable over the network. Cut off by the biomass, no doubt. It must be an old test, abandoned during the outbreak and resumed now that we've restored power.
I assume these microscopes were used to observe the biomass?
I believe so, yes.
Development of the biomass containment technology required research at the macro, micro, and even nanoscopic scales.
With these microscopes, the researchers would have been able to observe the effect of their containment technology in real time, with a more manageable sample size, of course.
It must have been a heavy responsibility to work so closely with live biomass samples.
It was not without its risks.
So, would you say it was more or less risky than intentionally infecting your own FTL drive?
There are many less precarious solutions, Captain. More, yes.
Such versatile technology.
And it still wasn't enough.
Oh, I can use it to shoot a thing.
Biomass at the exit neutralized.
It's possible I failed to foresee some of the cloaking emitter's eventual implications.
Sounds like your research director was on the right track.
She never gave up. I could hardly ever pull her away from her work.
Dr. Harlan, if I may interject, the local data I'm seeing implies that the director's efforts to develop cloak emitters proceeded beyond prototyping. Portable versions were installed in some of the X3 medtech shells. Several of these shells appear to have been left behind in the medical wing.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I believe it may be possible to fit Jack with a similar device, a portable cloak emitter.
What is involved?
I'll need you to retrieve the data from one of the medtech shells here. With that, I should be able to reconstruct the portable cloak emitter's design.
Copy that. I'll see what I can find.
Jack, this is the primary examination room, where prototype cures were administered to volunteers. Dr. Harlan, you'll be pleased to know that your old workplace remains unaffected by the outbreak. Dr. Harlan?
That's good to hear, Juno. Thanks.
These medical beds were used for diagnostic scans?
And to monitor potential treatments. Many of my peers focused on post-diagnosis options.
What sort of options?
Pain management, transmission reduction. Though most patients with terminal diagnosis volunteered for cure recently.
Wait. There are diagnoses that aren't terminal?
If the infection is limited to the extremities and has not yet penetrated the epidermis, amputation has a roughly 40% success rate.
In emergencies, the integrated cutter, equipped by several models of the X3 shell, including Jack's, can...
No. That's enough. Forget I asked.
Let's see. Moderate store of data, but much of it could prove useful in developing a cure. Good find, Jack.
This log indicates a multitude of visitors. Some were children.
Yes. Many of the station's personnel had families. Most of their children were suitably behaved. Some were not. Still, I hope they reached safety.
Jack, the medtech shells you need for your new tool will be in the medical lab.
That's where I am, right? Medical. Okay, well I can't keep going. Oh, here we go.
I'm entering the medical lab.
Doctor, perhaps you should step away for a minute. I'm sure there's still plenty of alpha data to parse before we're ready to initiate the experiment.
This device indeed appears to be a portable cloaking-emitter. Juno, I believe your conjecture was correct.
Naturally. If you scan the shell's data port, I believe I can create a similar device for you. Ah, my suspicions were correct. They did develop a portable version of the cloak emitter. Unfortunately, the data contained in this shell is only partial. Jack, to complete the reconstruction, I'll need you to scan additional units.
Understood.
Scan through. Nope. There we go.
A keypad for the duct. It may provide a means to circumvent some of this biomass, if I can find the code. I found another casualty. This researcher seems to have been helping the other one.
Dr. Adriana Lay.
She was too young for this.
Who was this person?
Dr. Franklin Teller, a fellow geneticist.
You knew him?
I knew all of them.
Oh, God.
A researcher and one of our anesthesiologists. It's an impossible task. Alleviating the pain of an infection, especially in later stages.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I've recovered her research. It also seems she received a message from Dr. McKenna with all of his access codes attached. Would you like me to play it?
Affirmative.
Beginning playback.
Hey, Adriana. I know I can count on you to look out for everyone. So I'm sending you my access codes. They should get you into my stuff and a few engineering areas. Spare rations, my playing cards, whatever else. If any of it helps even a little bit, please, take it. Share it. I figure it might make things a little more comfortable for you all.
Tram, prepare for departure.
Shit, I gotta go. I have no idea how to end this. Good luck. Oh. Goodbye.
End of message.
Could one of Dr. McKenna's codes work on that keypad Jack saw?
I believe so, yes. Jack, I'll add the code to your ARM computer.
2525.
Access to the utility ducts granted. Moving through the vents now.
Tell me something, Doctor. How long does it take
What?
for the infection to run its course?
Once it becomes fully active, usually somewhere between 3 to 5 days. But most victims opt to expedite their end.
Right. So, how does the infection work? Once it becomes active? I mean...
The biomass drains energy directly from your cells. Your body is in the throes of widespread cellular decay. Major organ failure follows 12 to 18 hours later.
Excellent. That shell contained more data regarding the portable emitters. We'll need a good bit more to reconstruct the design, though. Scan complete. We still need more data. Interesting. Doctor, this shell has a log conversation regarding the director and your research.
Go ahead, Juno.
Beginning playback.
Alright, Unit 5, back to the lab. The director wants to run those simulations again.
For what purpose?
I'm not sure. Dr. Harlan's ideas were intriguing, to say the least, but, well, I suppose the director knows best. Go ahead and prep the simulations. I'll join you shortly.
Acknowledge, Dr. McKenna.
Huh. So the director eventually explored your theories after all?
I didn't expect she would continue it after I left. But without the biomasses-based genetic material, it would have been as much of a dead end as containment. I just couldn't convince her.
Reconstruction of the personal cloak emitter is nearly complete. One more scan should be sufficient.
I found another arm equipped with a cloak emitter, a backup safety measure.
More than likely. But that's the problem. The biomass can't be contained. No matter how many redundancies you put in place.
Patient chart reveals catastrophic cellular breakdown.
Most likely an internal infection that passed through the tissue.
Does that happen in every case?
Eventually, but the host is usually deceased by then.
Well, that's a relief.
Aha. Bingo.
Data collection complete. Finalizing tool reconstruction. Reconstruction complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new cloak emitter.
Oh yeah, cloak emitter.
Cloak emitter installation successful. This portable version is practically identical to the mounted prototypes you've been using thus far.
Excellent. A tool like this will make it much easier to get around.
Just keep in mind that its effective range had to be reduced to achieve portability. If you move too far away from your target, the tool will deactivate.
Ah. Noted.
Nora, it's Dr. Barry, the research director.
This data includes a message from the research director, addressed to you, Dr. Harlan.
Hey, Juno.
Perhaps I could store it for a later time once we...
Juno.
Of course, Doctor. Beginning playback.
I don't know if you'll ever find this, but I wanted to get it out before... well, before things get any worse. If you do manage to find this, well, then you know what's happened. I suppose the good news is we got the emitter deck to work. Which, if I'm not mistaken, means you owe me dinner. Everett, listen to me. I know you. I know you're going to try to put all this on yourself somehow. Make yourself believe there was something you'd have done had you been here, but it's not true. You understand? Don't go trying to carry that. We all knew developing a cure was virtually impossible. No one here was waiting to be saved. You're leaving. You're already doing everything you could do to try and stop this. I miss you, Everett. Be safe. I love you. Goodbye.
So sorry, Harlan.
I too am sorry. It's clear you meant a great deal to one another.
She was a good person. She deserved a better resting place than this.
There's another voice-activated control panel here.
Additional security for the biomass containment area. It requires the voice authorization of a high-ranking official.
Well, we've got Dr. Harlan, right? Let's get that door open.
My authorization won't be enough. We'll need someone with higher clearance.
The research director.
After a lockdown, she'd be the only one able to enter containment.
With a large enough sample of the director's vocal modulations, I should be able to synthesize her voice.
We've got a log of her final moments. That's not enough?
Unfortunately, no. And inaccurately synthesizing her voice could lock us out permanently. We'll need more vocal data.
Great. So, we're stuck then?
Pull up my personal archive, Juno. There's just one file there.
You're sure, Dr. Harlan?
Go on.
Beginning playback.
I'm not going to be able to change your mind, am I?
You know I wouldn't leave unless I had to.
It's okay. A kill would change everything. You're not wrong about that. I just wish...
I know, Nora. Me too. I won't be long.
That should be enough for me to synthesize the director's voice.
Do it.
This is Dr. Nora Parikh. Authorized containment access.
Juno?
Yes, Doctor?
Never do that again.
I'm entering what appears to be an excavation site.
You are correct. It's the only remaining route to the biomass containment area. We should be able to find our sample there.
Acknowledged.
Is this containment area where the outbreak started?
Most likely. I'll continue parsing logs to see if I can determine what happened.
I'm sure that's not necessary.
Do it. I need to know.
Of course, Doctor.
I assume these barriers were set up while construction was taking place.
Correct. Data files show a series of tunnels extending beyond the barriers.
The scale of these excavations seems to far exceed our mining efforts back on the Kronos 2.
Absolutely. Though, this excavation was done to leverage the asteroid's bulk as a protective layer against the biomass. Any valuable mineral extractions were merely a byproduct.
Does most of humanity have to live like this? Underground, so to speak?
I'm detecting a tick up ahead.
Would my cloak emitter be effective?
I believe so. And the device's range should allow you to cloak the tick before it detects you.
Cloaking successful.
All this advanced tech, and the biomass still broke containment.
Yes. This is why eliminating the biomass is our only option.
I can get away from ticks now, yay.
I'm approaching the large opening. There is a conveyance system installed overhead.
That is how newly arriving containment units were transferred into main storage. Local telemetry indicates a significant biomass presence throughout the area. Containment certainly failed here.
Acknowledged. I will proceed with caution. This container must have lost power at some point. Unfortunately, it appears its contents have escaped. How certain are we that a functional container is still here?
Based on the logs, one stock container arrived shortly before the lockdown.
Hopefully, it remains intact. There is an X3 shell encased in biomass. Shall I scan its data port?
It is likely to possess details about the outbreak.
Then do it.
Data retrieved. I believe the synthetic using this shell was indeed present for the initial containment failure. I'll play the log.
Director Power.
Yes, unit.
A Category 4 containment breach is in progress.
What?
Origin uncertain. Multiple ticks are understated in the conveyance shaft. I am beginning to lock down.
Have any personnel had direct contact?
Several. I sacrificed my shell to prevent immediate fatality. I'm in the process of reprinting with a portable plug emitter.
All right, I'll triage the infected in the med labs.
Your telemetry indicates you're not very home. To avoid dying.
I'll find one. Just prioritize personal evacuation, then lock down the entire containment area, especially main storage.
Acknowledged, Doctor.
Nora, why did you...
She did her best. She tried to... No, she did help everyone. I'm sure that without her...
It doesn't matter. Without a cure, none of it matters.
Well then... we know what we have to do.
Agreed.
Shields at 95%.
I cloaked one of the sensors on this web, but it's not having the same effect as before.
One of? How many sensors does this web have?
At least 4.
Then this web must have been cultivating here for some time. It's possible this is where the outbreak originated.
Unfortunately, Jack, your cloak emitter cannot sustain enough insulation fields to blind all of those sensors.
There must be something else we can do.
Agreed. I'll find a way to retract the web. There is an electrical transformer here. Its power field appears to be keeping all nearby biomass active.
Any chance there's a bypass for Doctor?
Effectively? No. That subsystem has been consumed by the biomass.
Lovely.
If you can't cloak the sensors, cloak the power source.
Oh, nicely done, Jack.
That was unexpected. I'll need just a moment to further analyze the reconstructed targeting software. Ah, I see it now. The cloak emitter should be able to target power sources as well, as long as they're sufficiently compact.
Copy that. Proceeding through the web now. Is this the cargo bay?
Yes, and our containment unit is indeed intact.
I'm still prepping the intake system. Should be ready by the time the container gets here, though. I'm assuming we have what we need.
Readings show a full complement of ticks within. So, yes, Captain, we have what we need.
Is the unit safe to approach?
Yes, the container is fully powered and the insulation fields are active. Those ticks are pacified. I'll send a cargo drone to retrieve it as soon as the bay door is open.
On it.
Oh gosh, no.
Jack, the cargo drone is ready. Please locate a control console to open the door. Shields at 50%.
Son of a bitch.
Shields at 30%.
There it goes. Yeah.
Exterior bay door opened.
Copy that. We'll send over a cargo drone to retrieve the container. It shouldn't take too long.
Oh gosh.
We just need you to manually release the container once the drone has secured.
Acknowledged. I'll head to the cargo bay. From this side, the web sensor is inaccessible. I won't be leaving that way.
Yes, that is unfortunate. However, schematics do show a maintenance deck nearby.
I'll see what I can find. Cysts. Their rapid regrowth, even after bursting, makes them particularly dangerous. This specimen appears somewhat different than the others I've previously encountered. It has tentacles.
Yes, I believe that particular adaptation manifested somewhat recently. The biomass has been evolving continuously since your time. Regardless, you'll want to keep your distance, if possible. This is the administration area. Once past the next hallway, Jack, you'll be back in the cargo bay.
These controls are offline. Can this door be bypassed?
I'm afraid not. However, as a precaution, this area runs on a localized power grid. If you can find a way to restore that grid, the door should become operable.
This web must be sensing the battery's power field.
Indeed. Any substantial power field will awaken all forms of biomass from dormancy.
Nicely done. Starting to get a feel for that cloak emitter, are we, Jack?
It is quite effective.
That is indisputable at this point. And it has brought us that much closer to a cure. For that alone, we should be grateful.
In this corridor. I've found another casualty of the biomass. 2, in fact.
Dr. Stephen Garrick and Senior Technician Avery Park.
Seems they were left behind in the evacuation.
I doubt that. If they're here, it's probably because they chose to stay.
What do you mean?
I knew these people. Every researcher here understood what an outbreak would mean. That they would have to do whatever was necessary to try and protect the rest of the station.
I've nearly made it back to the cargo bay.
Good to hear, Jack. The drone should be there shortly.
Jack, the cargo drone will be unable to retrieve the container until it's released from the loading pallet. There should be a release mechanism near the container.
Yes, it's going to cut power to the crane. I need to move that back over.
Container released.
Confirmed. Container primed for departure.
It will need to be hooked up once it gets here, Jack. You had to give it the final touch.
I believe I would, yes. I doubt the procedure will take long.
Okay then. See you in a few.
Container departing in T-minus 10 seconds. Cargo drone is departing in 3, 2, 1. Igniting thrusters. Jack, I hope you don't mind. I switched us to another comms channel for a moment. I have a somewhat personal question to ask you. Do you mind?
Go ahead, Juno.
Captain Rhodes, she considers you a friend, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
How do you know?
In the time I have known Captain Rhodes, she has consistently demonstrated behaviors that suggest she values my company, trusts my insights, and harbors a great concern for my overall well-being.
I see.
Why do you ask?
I'm trying to discern if Dr. Harlan considers me a friend. Biometrics indicate he is still experiencing some distress, but I'm unsure if it would be appropriate for me to console him. What is your assessment?
Based on my observations, I believe Dr. Harlan considers you a friend. He will appreciate your efforts, even if he does not outwardly display it.
Thank you, Jack. I agree with your assessment. I will do what I can to help the doctor feel better. Wait, did we just become friends?
I suppose we did.
Splendid. I'll return comms to the public channel now. Cargo inbound to destination. Decreasing speed for final descent.
Jack, welcome back. Hookup controls are over near the cargo clamps.
Cargo now approaching. Dock. Beginning descent.
Hey there, Jack. Good to see you're still in one piece. Same deal as before. Hookup controls near the cargo clamps.
biomass container in place and ready to be secured.
Go ahead, Jack.
Biomass container secured in place.
Copy that. System check, Juno. How did we do?
Systems nominal. Both the fuel cell and biomass container are secure and fully engaged with the ship's intake systems.
Well, Jack, looks like things are wrapped up here. No need for you to rush back, though. I'm not exactly eager to send you hurtling through time again.
Of course.
Also, Dr. Harlan could always use more data for his research, if you'd like to continue exploring the station.
Copy that, Juno.
Alright, I think... Let me figure out my next objective and then I'm gonna stop. Alright. That's a good point to stop. Thanks for watching. It's a pretty fun game. You all have a good day, and leave a like and subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you later. Bye.